the NBA. We'll get into those details. And, it's Wednesday, so that means we are getting all up in the business. Damon Haley, author, strategist, entrepreneur, he's in the building. He's going to help us work through those details. And Dame Dash and Cameron, they're going back and forth in the media. Dame is so interesting in when he chooses to pull out chatty pattyisms, but we'll talk about it. He feels that Cam has crossed the line talking about his money, so we'll talk about that. And we kind of have something that is not related, but is when it comes to Drake's UMG lawsuit, right? We'll just get into it now. It's a little conversation starter for the night. Spotify just was involved in some bribery raids in Turkey that may lead to the FBI snooping around in the United States. They raided offices with the claims, right? Major label offices, I should clarify, from bribery allegations, basically lending credence to what Drake is suing UMG specifically for. Now, this was a variety of labels in Turkey, right? And the alleged charges, or the allegations, I should say, are labels paying off insiders for Spotify playlist placement. So now the FBI is reportedly, per Lauren LaRosa of The Breakfast Club, investigating if the same tactics are happening here in the United States, right? So for context, there are Turkish artists, let me slow down, who have been publicly blasting Spotify for shady playlists and practices, right? As well as bot streams, distorting charts. And these are some of the same conversations that we've heard here from several artists. So we'll have to see if this leads anywhere. When we come forward, we're going to get into all the trending topics and headlines for the night, plus, a little business strategy. And like I said, it's all up in the business Wednesday. So we have Damon Haley in the building. We're going to talk a little bit about the passing of someone who is monumental. We spoke a little bit about it last night, but we'll get into further details tonight. All of that and more when we come forward.
She knows what she's doing. She's super bad now. She's here to really blow your mind.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte. Let's preserve black land stories before they're lost forever. I want to personally invite you to be a part of something historic. As journalist in residence for the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, I've joined forces with powerhouse attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, and preserve the stories of black land lost before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic black narrative archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandlost.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You see in the chat they said there's no audio?
She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, don't mind, but what do you mean? I am the one who will dance on the floor and around. She said, I am the one.
Welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. And of course, you know how this goes down. If at any point you want to get in on this conversation, 800-920-1580. I wish I had a hat so I could do my little Michael Jackson thing. Listen, every time, though, I think about Billie Jean, and I know I'm going off topics. Ride with me for a second. I'll be back. I think about the Motown 25 performance. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because off air, Damon Haley and I were discussing how he feels that Michael Jackson is his greatest ever, right? Author, strategist, entrepreneur, owner of Glow and Flow Beauty, Inglewood and Hawthorne, Slay Hair, 3 Wives, Damon Haley in the business. In the building. About to get all up in the business. But I was thinking about it, and I feel like that performance, Motown 25, I know it's been talked about a million times, but really, he already was who he was, but it was just ascension. Watching that live, that energy, it's not repeatable.
There's no other moment in music like that.
It just,
None.
it was electric on so many levels. So,
And we can look at it today and still.
it won't feel like,
Oh,
and I still can get chills looking at that. Like, it's exciting, but it will never feel like how I felt
yeah.
seeing that. Andy?
Was it the moment where he was like, you know, I like performing all the old songs?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
And
it
then-
exactly.
And then he kind of looked up, hit you with the little side view.
And the beat dropped.
But I like
Yeah.
the new songs.
Yeah.
And then the beat dropping.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, just so much of it, it just everyone that was in the building, we had never seen anything like that. It was amazing. So yeah, 800-920-1580 if you want to jump in. Social media, I'm coming to you, Milton. We got a call coming up. 1 second. And, hit us up, KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill, of course. Holla at your girl. Now, before we get into these topics, last night we were talking about Bobby Womack versus Casey Haley. The song is If You Think You're Lonely Now. Andy said that Casey's version is better than Bobby's. I said we needed to hear both, right? And there is a certain energy that is flowing with Casey's version that, dare I say, I'm kind of on Andy's side. So Milton from LA, what do you have to say about this?
Thank you for accepting my call, Queen Jill and Brother Andy. I have to say this. I listen to the show very carefully, like I do each time I listen in. But I beg to differ because, first of all, Bobby Womack, he's the originator of the song. He did not have the benefit of the same technology as this young brother. What you say his name is? I'm sorry.
Casey Haley of
yeah,
Jodeci.
Casey Haley.
No relation.
Yeah, thank you so much. He did not have that benefit of that same kind of good technology that the singers have these days. But his voice is second to none. The originator of the song is second to none. The same way Snoop Dogg had his other brother did a remake of Marvin Gaye's song. He did good, but he's not Marvin Gaye. Same thing could be said of Stevie Wonder. People could remake these songs, but the originator of the songs is the best in what they do. If they doing having what they work with during that time. Forgive how I'm speaking. I'm just kind of hyped up. But that's basically what I have to say. I respect what Andy said, but no, I disagree entirely. Because, like I said, he has the benefit of technology, which a lot of them have these days when they make these songs. Please forget how I'm speaking.
Can I chime in?
So,
go ahead, Andy.
So, I mean, look, there's obviously a generational thing right there, right? I think I'm always going to give props to the originators, for sure, 100%. To your point about the technology piece, I don't know how much technology was different in the 90s as opposed to, what was that, the 70s or whatnot. I'm sure there was an improvement, but, like, we're not going to say, like, how music is made now. Completely different. I want to say that it's probably similar.
Well, I don't know, Milton. You can speak.
I mean, in the 90s, I know there was cassette tapes. 70s,
there's DATs.
vinyls.
They weren't recording to cassettes. They were recording to DATs. They were recording to different. There's a difference in portability. You had the ability starting in the 90s to do punch-ins. Kind of that technology was coming to speak. There are things differently. Like if you think about it, in the 50s and 60s, one mic, a couple of mics, you're recording it live straight through. There's no stop, run that part back really quick or whatever. It's straight through live instrumentation. So there's, obviously when KC recorded his, he wasn't in the studio with a band like maybe Bobby was. So there's, different things like that I can say to the process from 70s to 90s. But Milton, didn't want to interrupt. What were you going to add?
I appreciate you on the call, but I respect you guys so much. I appreciate you so much. I know I'm calling. Like I said, that's why I'm speaking around speaking. I had to say something like that. I understand your perspective, but like I said, I'm old school warrior. I'm always love my old school. So the generation now, the way things are going, I mean, I listen in, but my heart is with old school. I mean, the old school warriors, I just love them. I just love them.
And I respect the old school as well, too.
Thank you, Milton. We appreciate your call. Thank you for weighing in. DH, you got to weigh in on it?
At first I was like, KC killed it. But then when I started listening to Milton, I thought that he did it a lot like Bobby Womack. I don't know if he made it his own. And so I don't know if it was that much different than Bobby. So did he do a better Bobby or did he do his own KC? Like, all I do is think of you and Troop and how they took Mike's song and did that. They made it their own, and they killing Mike by a long distance. I don't know if KC beat him by a long distance, but I like KC's version better.
Okay.
But I will say, if we're going to say it's better, make it your own. Take it, reproduce it, because Casey got to sound like Bobby Womack.
But they said KC sounded like Aaron Hall, too, and everybody else in between.
Yeah, so.
I guess the only distinction that made it KC songs was like the ad-libs and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So we're talking about Ghost or whatever running around the room.
I can understand that. And it's funny. This is another song I wanted to bring up. Who Can I Run To? Jones Girls, Escape. Same situation, right? Escape pretty much did the song verbatim.
Yeah. They did an amazing remake.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say, I don't feel one way or another as far as that, like one is better. It's just an update.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of updates, right, we've had An American Dream. We had Flex Alexander portray Michael Jackson in something. And now, we have the Michael biopic that's dropping next April. And Michael's daughter, Paris Jackson, she is not here for what she feels a certain narrative has been put out. Actor Colman Domingo, who portrays... Joe Jackson in the upcoming biopic, right? He was in an interview with people and he told them that Paris and Prince Jackson were very much in support and that Paris had been very helpful to him during production. I think that's polite speak, right? I think that is if you're asked about something and maybe you don't, want to share the tea per se, you just give a generic answer. I'm going to say that, right? Well, Paris hopped on Instagram while she was getting her hair styled, and she said, listen, don't be telling people I was helpful. I wasn't on the set of the movie. I had 0% involvement, and that is so weird. I don't know if she said it like that exactly, but we're going to listen. She followed with a video basically explaining that we're going to listen to. She actually reviewed an early draft of the script. She called out what she felt were full-blown lies and inaccuracies. And when her feedback got ignored, she said she disengaged. So here's the thing. She did give some feedback, whether they agreed with it or not. So she probably was helpful to some in a way. So what Colman says is not exactly a lie. But let's hear Paris and what she has to say about the project.
There's been a lot of responses to the thing that I posted earlier about just like clarifying like that I wasn't involved at all. Aside from like giving feedback on the first draft and then getting the feedback that yeah, we're not actually going to address your notes at all. And I was like, all right, like so I just like butted out and I just like I've left it alone because it's not my project. So they're gonna make whatever they're gonna make. A big reason why I haven't said anything up until this point is because I know a lot of you guys are gonna be happy with it. Like a big section. The film panders to a very specific section of my dad's fandom that still lives in the fantasy, and they're gonna be happy with it. The thing about these biopics is it's Hollywood, so it's fantasy land. It's not real, but it's sold to you as real, and a lot of sugar-coated, like the narrative is being controlled, and there's a lot of inaccuracy, and there's a lot of just full-blown lies. And at the end of the day, like that doesn't really fly with me. I don't really like dishonesty. I spoke up. I wasn't heard. I f***ed off. That's it. Y'all are gonna like the movie, so just go watch it, go enjoy it, do whatever, leave me out of it. Something that like quite a lot of people are saying is like she hates her dad. She resents him. She wants nothing to do with him. Because I'm not like calling the shots on set, being a big shot producer of a movie that's filled with just inaccuracies. That's not my truth. That's not where I'm coming from. I just prefer honesty over like sales and monetary gain. Like that's it.
So obviously she did not indicate what aspects of his story she felt were untrue that were being portrayed. She didn't elaborate on what her truth was as it relates to her father. So with that, I feel like what she said was a whole lot of nothing, right? Just because, given that you completely understand your father's reputation, what he meant, his fandom, all of these various things, are you not playing into, and I'm not saying you had to spoil the story, but you cared enough to explain, oh, they're just saying she hates her dad. Perhaps she's explained this time and time again. But again, if you're reframing it and readdressing it and you don't want to be associated with this, but you're saying his fans will be very happy, I feel like you got to provide a little teensy bit of clarity if you want us to what? Because you put this out there in our lap. I feel like Colman was really just playing nice. So, I don't know. DH, do you have any thoughts? I know, Andy, you mentioned that you kind of felt that Paris had a lot of valid points. Which aspects do you think were truthful? Well, not so much truthful, but valid points to raise.
Just her perspective on the fact that, some of this stuff were, I guess, false. Who's going to deny what her experiences are? And the fact that you have people who are, I guess, running the whole biopic that is going to be dismissive to the man's daughter. I can understand her not wanting to be involved with that.
I can too, but I also think about the fact that Michael passed 16 years ago. So she was very young. First, and again, we don't know what aspects she is referring to, but for a good portion of what we are going to be shown, she wasn't alive for.
That's fair.
And then for other aspects, she was a small child, not discounting children, but sometimes we as children may not have the full scope, right? Or we just know one side is a parent. Again, having absolutely no knowledge of what her objections are. DH?
Well, it's not a documentary. That's for one.
Right.
It's a biopic, and you want it to be sexy and sensational. So there are going to be some things that make the story go, versus all the other stuff. So we know, I would think we know it's not a documentary, that it's not the truth. It's just us going and enjoying some fiction about somebody we know, and probably 75, 80% of it is true. 20% is making the story go. And I think you're right. She doesn't know, and I don't know the timing of the biopic, but she don't know him like we were talking about when he was young. She don't know the Motown, impact. She doesn't know all of that. So I'm curious, like you say, as a child, how much is it that she's really saying is a lie versus what other people are telling her? She couldn't form her own thing. Somebody did a biopic on my brother, we 6-year difference. I can tell it all because we grew up together, but she couldn't. I can't tell you nothing about my dad before I was born.
Listen, when we come forward, we'll get more into this topic. Plus, we're going to talk about Kawhi Leonard's $28 million no-show. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 15.
Are you ready for the hottest entertainment scoop in Los Angeles? She's bringing you exclusive interviews with today's biggest stars, behind-the-scenes Hollywood insights, and all the entertainment news you need to know. She's breaking down what's trending, what's ending, and what's just beginning in the world of entertainment. You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. New York City students return to class Thursday under the state's new bell-to-bell smartphone ban.
I think it will bring more, less negativity, more positivity for the kids.
Technology is becoming, ever more interconnected with, our day-to-day, especially for, youth.
Black Mayor Eric Adams extended it to tablets and smartwatches across 1,600 schools, with exceptions only for medical or case-by-case needs. Comedian Drewski is going viral after disguising himself as a white man at a NASCAR race. Wearing white face, a mullet, overalls, and a cowboy hat, he blended in without being recognized. The video hit over 11 million views in just 3 hours. And police are searching for 3 suspects who broke into Black actress Tracee Ellis Ross's Los Angeles home Sunday while she was away. The thieves smashed a glass door and stole over $100,000 in jewelry and handbags. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Stall in Montebello on the 60 eastbound before Paramount. Center lane is blocked, sending it back away from Indiana Street out of East LA. Tahunga still a mess on the 210 westbound before Latuna Canyon Road is where the left lane has been blocked off. This is due to an earlier problem with a car fire. Big delays still loading up at La Cañada from Angeles Crest Highway. It's also a very tough drive making your way along the 134 westbound out of Glendale from Brand Boulevard as you make your way towards the 5. A lot of people taking that 5 as an alternate to the 210 westbound, and it remains heavy from the 134 and stretches all the way to the 210 merge.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The impressive run for Venus Williams at the U.S. Open tennis tournament came to an end. The 45-year-old Compton native lost in the quarterfinals of the doubles competition. Venus and Leylah Fernandez lost to Taylor Townsend and Katerina Siniakova 6-1 and 6-2. This was the first time Venus competed in the U.S. Open in 2 years. She was also the oldest competitor in the U.S. Open women's bracket since 1981. After the match, the sellout crowd gave Venus a standing ovation. Just in case you're wondering, the 7-time Grand Slam champion gave no indication that she's ready to retire. Alabama A&M is the HBCU team that played in front of the largest crowd Saturday during the first full weekend of college football. Alabama A&M played at Arkansas, a game that drew 70,827 fans. The turnout ensures at least a six-figure payout for Alabama A&M from the gate receipts. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
Asthma Peak Week is almost here, September 14th through 20th, and it's one of the most dangerous times of the year for asthma flare-ups. Did you know that Black Americans are about 5 times more likely than white Americans to end up in the emergency room due to asthma? This is an important reminder to be informed, prepared, and proactive. If you or someone you care for has asthma, now's the time to get ready. Make sure medications are filled and not expired. Review your asthma action plan with your doctor or care team. This is also the time to talk with your doctor about your triggers, monitor your symptoms closely, and double-check inhaler technique to ensure you are using all prescribed medications correctly. Caregivers, make sure your child's school or daycare has their rescue medications and know what to do in an emergency. Stay aware, have a plan, and spread the word because your health matters. For more active asthma care tips, visit luma-edu.com. This message is brought to you by Amgen and AstraZeneca.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's 2 o'clock and I'm faded. This coot's feeling amazing. Got a voicemail on my phone from a little breezy feeling X-rated. She told a nigga she hurting. I'm in the car and I'm swerving. I walked into her bedroom. I put it down, that's certain. Man, I stay on that to rock. Man, I I stay taking shots. Man, your girl be on my job. Maybe cause I'm everything you're not. See, I ain't no rich nigga, no snitch nigga. I'm a real nigga, that's real. I'm just trying to chill. Cause I'm way too drunk to be
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Joel Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Shout out to August Alsina. Yeah. Key of entanglements and such. This song was a bop. I remember going to see him and Tiana Taylor when they were on tour. He was the headliner. And it was at the House of Blues. So you know that was a long time ago because that's a whole hotel now. So shout out to them both. Listen, before we wrap up this Michael topic, DH, did you have anything else to add? So, I mean, the film is set to come out April of 2026. Colman Domingo as Joe, Nia Long as Catherine. I'm not sure who the rest of I think Chloe Bailey. No, is it Halle or which one's the Little Mermaid? I think it's Halle Bailey is playing Janet Jackson. I think. I still want to see it.
That's great casting.
You think so?
For Janet?
Oh, okay.
I'm like, okay. I can see Chloe or Halle, whichever one of it.
I think it's Halle. I think. I want to see it. I'm curious to see what they're going to bring forward. I feel like American Dream was one of the greatest biopic miniseries. You know, that, The Temptations, and obviously the New Edition story. Those are my 3 TV favorites. We're talking film, you got to include Ray. And obviously Angela Bassett, Lawrence Fishburne. What's Love Got to Do with it? Yeah.
I just want to give my flowers, to brother Jason Weaver.
Facts.
The greatest Michael Jackson actor.
Okay, that's a good one.
Shout out to Jason Weaver, man.
Did,
Singer,
yeah.
all that.
Shout out to his mama.
For the Lion King, right? She handled business.
Shout out to his mama.
All right, before we push on to the next topic, we have Eric from Carson on the line. Eric, what's going on? What are your MJ thoughts?
What's up, my people?
Hey.
I just want to give a quick biopsy and just say that Michael Jackson was an incredible vocal talent as a child and had amazing stage presence. We know that as a teen, he was awkward. Puberty wasn't his friend. He struggled to break away from his brothers. And then he had these multiple surgeries and changing appearances. He became eccentric and weird. But, you know, my point is that performers are usually introverts. They find performing on stage less intimidating than social interaction. I would just be curious what Paris would say if somebody sat down with her and asked her, what do you think about your dad's history as a performer? You know, what do you have to say about that?
I'm sure she's had that conversation with someone. And to some degree, I feel as though she's in her bits and pieces, maybe not as one conscious stream, but I feel like her thoughts about her father or the things that she's remarked about her family, we know some things. I recall something some years back, an incident where it looked as if, I will say, Paris and Janet had some type of altercation, right? So, I mean, but also teens are teens, and losing your father and unclear exactly about the relationship with their mother and really the family, plus you add in all the wealth. It's complicated, I assume. And, you know, I'm sure those various aspects color the situation and what you think of it and all of the things. And even as far as, you know, her dad's eccentric activities. We don't know the conversations that he did have with her. I do this to protect us. People are trying to get us. And people were. Not necessarily in an evil way, but, you know, there's a lot of factors that we don't know, especially given the time period, what those conversations look like.
I think that was well said. And can I just make one closing remark?
Of course.
I had the pleasure of meeting Bobby Womack before he died. He is awesome. KC ain't nowhere near Bobby Womack. He can't touch him.
Man, where the youngsters at?
Right.
We're the 30-year-olds, man. Come back me up. Shout out to
I'm a 30-year-old at heart.
I mean, I agree with you, Andy. I said it, but, we're on an island. Thanks for your call, Eric. Okay, before we move ahead to our next topic, I wanted to take a moment for Damon to address the passing of Coach George Raveling. I mentioned yesterday that he was someone that I connected with while I worked at Nike. I knew his son, Mark, in our youth, so to speak. And so he just was a looming presence, very large in sports and beyond. And so, Damon, I wanted to get your thoughts.
George was a unicorn. He was a great man. A lot of people didn't know. Obviously, he was 88 when he passed. So when he was young, he was a college graduate. He went to Villanova during segregation and all that kind of stuff. So he fought through that. And a lot of people don't know he owned the I Have a Dream speech because a friend of his father said you should go to D.C. because it's an important time. And he was walking around with his friend, and somebody said, hey, you guys are pretty big. You want to do security? And he was right there on the stage with Martin Luther King. And afterwards, George being George said, hey, can I get those notes? And MLK, Martin Luther King, gave him the notes and then just disappeared. And that's how George got the I Have a Dream speech. He was one of the first one of the first coaches black coaches in the ACC, Pac-10, now Pac-12. Not anymore. Same with Iowa in the Big Ten. He was at USC at the end of his career because he got into a bad car accident. He revolutionized basketball in terms of how people view talent, but he just had a chance to touch so many people through sports. I don't know if there's anyone alive that has touched more people than him. He's also famous for directing because he was at Washington State and had a relationship with Nike. He was able to talk to Jordan during the '84 Olympics when he was an assistant coach for that Olympic team. Hey, you should give Nike a run at it, and that's what he did. But in his adult life, he just remained Coach Rav, and so he was kind to everybody. Those who know him knew he had, he's the kind of guy when you came into the office, he brought donuts, lunch for everybody, all that kind of stuff. He ran Jordan's camp in Vegas and in Santa Barbara, where once again he unlocked Jordan to be more of who he was and to be personable. He's the guy who, when Charles Barkley got cut from that '84 team, that Olympic team, but still led in points, rebounds, and assists, and Bobby Knight sent George to cut Charles Barkley. So he was that kind of guy, but just real beloved, and he was an excellent leader. He was a reader, a thinker, a constantly educated guy. Got me reading after I was finished with school. So everybody he touched, moved, and inspired was just really, really great towards him. And so he passed peacefully, among family, friends, all of that. And my story is he died like he lived life. His heart gave out, at the end, and so just a tremendous man. He does have a book out that he released in March at 88 years old. He had a book and he has a documentary that premiered at Martha's Vineyard Film Festival, and he is a Naismith Hall of Fame inductee. So just a tremendous dude from on the court, off the court, and with advocacy, the politics of sport. Him and Harry Edwards were good friends, if people know Harry Edwards. So great man, love him. Brother, uncle, dad, all that kind of stuff.
Amazing. Thank you for those reflections. When we come forward, we'll get into this Kawhi Leonard story.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thinking about going electric? Now is the perfect time. Electric vehicles cost less to run, don't need gas, and need fewer repairs than gas-powered cars. You can also save with federal and state tax credits, and in some areas, qualify for rebates on home charging stations. To learn more, visit www.breathesocal.org. That's www.breathesocal.org.
If you're an African American mom who is pregnant or have a baby under 6 months old, You deserve care that lifts, listens, and lasts. Black Infant Health is for you. It's a free program with individual support, group sessions, and resources to start your mothering journey. BIH makes space for moms and their families to create community. Learn more about the programs in Los Angeles County. Check us out at blackinfanthealth.org.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-226-8833. That's 800-226-8833.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Now, like I mentioned, the NFL season kicks off tomorrow, but we are going to be talking about a little bit of NBA news. So ESPN, formerly of ESPN, I believe, Pablo Torre, right? He put out some information that kind of lit the Clippers up. According to his investigation, Kawhi Leonard was allegedly paid $28 million for a no-show job with a tree planting company, right? So here's how the scheme allegedly worked, or the alleged scheme, I should say. So the Clippers funneled $50 million into this company, right, to create what looked like a legit endorsement. On paper, Kawhi was supposed to be tied to environmental work, right? In reality, no actual work happened. The money was basically, it looks like, a way for the Clippers to get around the NBA salary cap rules, right? The way that it popped out is because this company filed a bankruptcy claim or something happened with it. And you know, your creditors are listed as line items. Well, Kawhi's LLC was one of those line items for $7 million. And some digging, they looked to see if Kawhi had ever posted on social media about this company. He had not. There were no appearances for Kawhi at this company, planting trees or doing anything of the like. So, looks a little questionable, right? I don't know. Maybe he was sending out plant seeds or something. Unclear. But $28 million to a man who, yeah, Andy yelled out, does not play, who has been injured quite frequently over the past, well, his entire tenure with the Clippers. I think there's maybe a season where he almost played to completion. Believe it was last season where he got hurt in the playoffs, right? And that derailed him, or was that the season before? So it's been a while since we've really seen Kawhi be Kawhi. But Damon, what are your thoughts about this? The NBA of course, it's made its way to them at this point, says they're going to take a look.
Yeah, I think it looks bad, for one. It really looks bad. I took a look at it. It doesn't look good. And by all accounts, it seems like it doesn't look good. It just don't look good because that kind of stuff happens already. Like if you see the NBA, they're investing in certain brands and then they funnel players. That's what the NBA does. You have the same thing in the local level where the team and the player combine to do localized marketing. But for him not to ever say anything, post, no records or anything, and for him to still get money from this company sounds a little because the Clippers can say, we're advertising with this group. But for them to go defunct and never do anything, and then for them to sign Kawhi, that's okay. But for there not to be a fair exchange of any kind of a real work to happen, it doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good.
Andy?
Man, Kawhi been finessing the world for some years now.
Yeah.
And it's like Brother DH said, it is not a good look. It's not a good look on the Clippers. It's not a good look on the owner, especially Kawhi.
It really does look a little crazy. I mean, if this checks out, the Clippers obviously could face massive penalties. We're talking fines, loss of draft picks, maybe even a forced restructuring of their cap. And it sets a dangerous precedent.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Like I said, there's a form of that's happening already, but it's more cooperative and work is being done, right?
You're getting some value from the ad value.
Yes. So you just say, that's why people go to Boston, L.A., New York, because you can get love there. It's harder to do in Utah and Denver, right? So there's already a organized way to do it, a respectable way to do it, and a way that gets through all them lawyers at the NBA. But to do it like this where there's like no work, no brand presence or whatever, because they could have just did a commercial for him every year.
Right.
And then it would have made it look like that.
And aired it on their channel, aired it in arena, anything.
But to do nothing, and for it to get bankrupt, and then for even Kawhi to even say, hey, to petition for money. Like, because that's what you have to do, because I've been involved with stuff like that too, where, it's bankrupt, I ain't got a lot of money, I'm not even going to go after it. Kawhi didn't have to go after it. So that's another thing to say, why would you if you knew it was some slick stuff?
Right.
So and the Clippers could say, well, we got you. Don't worry about that $7 million or whatever the balance is. We're going to get you. So, yes, it's not a good look. I've seen other players, I've seen other franchises do it, and agents do it a lot better.
So let me ask you this. Like, are the Clippers as a franchise hypothetically cursed? Like, I'm just saying, crazy things have been happening with this franchise, I feel like, since they left Buffalo, right?
Well, I think it is a formula. It is a formula for winners. It's an energy and an aura around winners. I'm not sure the Clippers attract winners.
Even in their current state with Ballmer and all the money he puts into it and the excitement and the new arena.
Well, he's winning with everything that we talked about, but in terms of championship players it's tough to do it in L.A. If he wasn't in L.A., Ballmer would be a star. But when you have L.A. that's consistently, doing playoffs and doing marketing better and better attraction and people just more fandom, it's going to take a lot for the Clippers to be seen as winners.
Do you think that Brooklyn has done a good job of that? Because they're kind of in the same situation, being, the Nets moved from Jersey to Brooklyn, and, there seemed to be a wave for a minute, and Kevin Durant was there, and James, and
Dom Majiga, he was there too.
Yeah.
So I think that they gave it a great run. They made some probably bad mistakes to get, like I said, Katie, and then it was Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett and all that. They tried to build it through free agency. It just didn't work. But it's still Brooklyn. It's still a great facility and all that kind of stuff. But they did a good job when they had the shot at it. The Russian dude bought it and did everything he could, to make it go. But
so the Clippers, you don't think have that type of sizzle?
No. Because how aligned are they with, say, Hollywood? How aligned are they with...
Well, hasn't that been part of their marketing thing? You know, street lights over spotlights and things of that nature.
I think it's a good approach to fill maybe the top bowl, the top level and all that for tickets and all that kind of stuff to get that kind of energy. But I'm not sure if culturally they've really aligned with L.A. and how L.A. works.
Interesting. Andy?
I was just going to say their arena. Their
It's
arena
nice.
kind of, you know, people rocking with that. But other than that, the organization, not
Yeah,
so
I
much.
mean, we think of the Lakers and how they were able to build personality through the organization. The Clippers, maybe they're choosing not to do that other than Ballmer. He's an animated guy. He's rich. He's happy and all that kind of stuff. But nothing else. Like nothing else to really, like a simple thing I was involved with trying to get somebody over there to be their creative director. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
That's what brands are doing. They're naming people creative directors to essentially inject cool, right? Inject hip,
The
current,
Detroit Pistons
relevant,
did it with Big Sean.
all that kind of stuff. So why wouldn't you? And the Lakers haven't done it because they haven't had to do it.
They don't need to, yeah.
But the Clippers have to take that marketing brand approach, and they're not.
Andy?
They got some homegrown athletes. James Harden, Kawhi Leonard. Just saying.
I mean, did it matter? They had 5 when they had Russ and who's PG. But it didn't mean much. Listen, we'll get into Dame and Cam tomorrow. We know Billy Crystal is a Clippers fan, the OG. Womp womp. And not like that. I've loved Billy Crystal since Soap, but womp womp. Listen, that is my time for tonight. You know, I'll be back here tomorrow, each and every Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. with your trending topics and headlines coming up next. Oh, wait. Check out Damon Haley on Instagram, social media. Hit him up. He's an author. DH, Dreams and Hopes, baby. That's his book. And, you know, Glow and Flow and Slay Hair. I'm Jill Munroe. I'll be back tomorrow.
Watch out for CMB, baby. It's going down. You better watch out for Cash Money, cause we laying it down. Money making is my thing, cause I'm trying to be rich, trying to put away meals. That's why I'm in the studio dropping hits, dropping rap after rap like you sell key after key. Backed up by the best fresh, dropping beat after beat. My clique is the hot boys, best believe we so high and dangerous. If we in beef with the whole block, no fading us at all, player, cause we roll too deep. With AKs off safety, knocking busters off their feet. I go by the name WG. I ride on chrome and then I ain't
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Illinois leaders are preparing for President Trump to send the National Guard to Chicago. Governor J.B. Pritzker says federal agents and military vehicles began staging Monday at Naval Station Great Lakes.
Shootings will continue as long as this